What's up? Latest news on your $2,000 fourth stimulus check update as well as recurring stimulus check update. Now, according to new articles, Joe Manchin will continue to keep Washington guessing on what he wants. This does not look good for the progressives at all since they absolutely cannot afford to lose his vote. What does Joe Manchin really want for the stimulus bill? Now, let's talk about child credits. According to this report, Democrats poured cold water on Joe Manchin's suggested work requirements for President Biden's child tax credit. Child tax credits have helped millions of children, so what does this mean? Lastly, more stimulus. Now let's talk about more aid. The Treasury is now actually set to release more rental assistance to avert eviction. If you need rental assistance, this could be the aid that is coming to you soon. We will discuss all of these and more in today's video, so definitely stick around to the end. That way you're notified as soon as I release new videos and content. And of course, I always want to thank you guys for always hitting that like button. I appreciate the support, and I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the videos, and let's go ahead and jump right in. First up, here's your daily update on the reconciliation bill, aka the stimulus bill that the Democrats are currently working hard on to pass through reconciliation. And they are indeed working hard, as Senator Joe Manchin has been making things very difficult lately for the Democratic Party with his recent demands and his comments. Now, according to this article, Joe Manchin will continue to keep Washington guessing on what he wants. This does not look good for the progressives at all, since they absolutely cannot afford to lose his vote. But let's get into the details here. What does Joe Manchin want? It says here, Manchin, who occupies the proverbial eye of the 50-50 Senate, is back in the spotlight again amid a highly fraught debate over the heart of President Biden's legislative agenda. He's back channeling with his colleagues, shadowboxing with progressives through the media, and feeding GOP hopes that he'll scale down the bill. Manchin, for his part, says he's being clear in an effort to not catch anyone off guard. Everybody knows my position, Manchin told reporters in one of several gaggles packed into the Senate's two-day work week. I've been very clear, very open. I didn't want anyone to say it was a surprise. Indeed, Joe Manchin has been kind of shadowboxing, as this article says, with the progressives. He's been throwing punches from out of nowhere and causing this whole stimulus bill process to get off the rails. Yes, he's been very clear with his standing, and he's been quite vocal lately. But the progressives have been transparent as well. They don't want to cave into his demands at all, which makes the situation even more of a headache. Manchin has drawn a hard line of not accepting a $3.5 trillion bill and has urged his colleagues to hit the pause button on legislation altogether, a request that he reiterated during a closed-door Democratic caucus meeting this week. Guys, my opposition is pretty well stated. I don't know what else to tell you, Manchin told reporters. Now, that time when Joe Manchin urged his colleagues to hit the pause button on the bill kind of feels like just yesterday. Ever since he did that, the media and the progressives have been talking about him non-stop. I kind of feel like he wants the attention. It's just an observation, but considering the time that has passed already, it's pretty safe to say that Joe Manchin will not be caving in anytime soon. Asked about Senate Budget Committee Chairman Bernie Sanders vowing that the bill will be $3 trillion, Manchin added, God bless him. Now, whether that's a playful tease or a passive-aggressive remark towards Bernie Sanders, I really can't tell. But he's definitely got a sense of humor there. I'm pretty sure that Bernie Sanders would not be laughing though. After all, he's kind of the leader in this whole stimulus bill push by the Democrats. He has even said that the $3.5 trillion budget proposal is already the compromise that he gave, saying that the $6 trillion was the original plan. As a matter of fact, the previous stimulus bill was worth $1.9 trillion, which included a stimulus check and other programs. Now, with a $3.5 trillion budget, what are the Democrats calling for? Well, if you didn't know, they're pushing for a lot of programs here. This has basically been dubbed the human infrastructure bill after all. Now, with the $3.5 trillion budget, Democrats aim to pass and implement many programs that would aim to help and change the lives of millions of Americans. Some of these programs include free community college, universal pre-K, lowered drug prices, corporate tax hikes, climate change, Medicare expansion, Social Security raises, and so much more. Democrats could also throw a fourth stimulus check in there if they wanted to, but this part is a little bit uncertain for now. The government managed to include a stimulus check with the previous $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, so maybe they'll have one in here in this $3.5 trillion bill. However, as I said before, that is still a little bit uncertain, so don't expect it just yet. All right, so back to Joe Manchin, right? He has been given the media spotlight recently, and he's all over the news everywhere. However, according to a recent news article, it seems like progressives don't like this fact at all. Let's see here. But Manchin's public posturing is irking progressives who argue the entire debate shouldn't revolve around the moderate counterpart. Progressives are threatening to flex their own political muscle after initially pitching a $6 trillion bill. Asked about Manchin's influence on the debate over the spending package, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts responded, "We have 50 Democrats. We need all of them." Now, could the progressives be the ones who make the demands next? They did raise a valid point here. The entire debate should not revolve around just the moderates, since good debates cover both sides. Senator Elizabeth Warren was on point with her statement here too. There are indeed 50 Senate Democrats, and the fact is they cannot lose anyone for their stimulus bill to be able to move forward. They need the party to vote unanimously. But how about Joe Manchin? Fair point there. It's looking like Joe Manchin will keep pushing his influence and keep the Democrats guessing. But what do you guys think though? Remember, a lot is at stake here, especially the chances of a fourth stimulus check. Should the Democrats just ignore Joe Manchin's demands and just trust that he'll come back later? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Up next, we are still on stimulus news here. Again, Joe Manchin is causing trouble. Now, according to this report, Democrats poured cold water on Joe Manchin's suggested work requirement for the Biden child tax credit. Child tax credits have helped millions of children. So what does this all mean? Let's get into it right here. Democrats in both the House and the Senate on Monday started lining up against Senator Joe Manchin's suggestion that people should be required to work in order to qualify for President Joe Biden's revamped monthly child tax credit. 3 Democratic senators expressed opposition to the West Virginia Democrats' concept of work requirements, including 2 influential committee chairs. Among them was Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio, who leads the Senate Banking Committee. So if you guys weren't aware, in a recent interview, Joe Manchin said that the child tax credits should have work requirements. Joe Manchin's demand here is totally the opposite of what the CTC is aiming to do. The CTC wants to help children no matter what their background. Now, of course, the leading progressives were not happy about that. They're all calling for an extension of this to be included in the stimulus bill after all. Senator Sherrod Brown believes that caregiving is work, and the families receiving the CTC are working hard every day to provide for their family, some of them at multiple jobs. A Brown spokesperson said in a statement to Insider, "These tax cuts have lifted millions of kids out of poverty. That policy should continue." Senator Sherrod Brown makes a fine point here. Yes, some people work multiple jobs to keep their families alive. And yes, the CTC has helped millions of kids out of poverty. So why add restrictions to it? That was just echoed by a spokesperson for Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado. The person said that Bennet backed the House Democratic plan that would renew the monthly stimulus payments until 2025 and lock in the ability for families with scarce or no tax obligations to access the credit after that. He believes punishing the poorest children in America because their family's income is too low to qualify them for the CTC is self-defeating and incredibly compromising to them and to our nation's future. Self-defeating indeed. Adding a requirement that just makes the benefit more inaccessible, which would considerably lessen the program's reach. That's not helping the people who really need it. In fact, research shows that work requirements end up kicking vulnerable people from economic security programs, depriving them of critical assistance. So the Democrats are not just saying baseless statements here to let the CTC continue with no requirements. It says here, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont poured cold water on Manchin's idea as well. My own personal view is that would be counterproductive to the children who need help the most. A key House progressive slammed Manchin's idea on Monday. I don't think he gets what we're doing here. This came from Representative Pramila Jayapal, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. She wrote on Twitter, "Children still need to eat, whether their parents are employed or not. The fact here is that the CTC has helped many children. In fact, it has helped 3 million children out of poverty, according to research. Helping 3 million children is a win for everyone, and the Democrats are not willing to lessen the people getting the help." But what do you guys think about this though? Drop me a comment down below. Let's discuss it. All right, so last but not least, let's talk about more stimulus aid. The Treasury is now actually set to release more rental assistance to avert eviction. All renters out there, you might want to listen to this one. And also, don't forget to share this video with anyone else who might be facing potential eviction. Let's get into the details here. The Treasury Department said Tuesday it plans to award the remaining $13 billion in federal rental aid to states and localities that have been the most effective at delivering the assistance in a new bid to speed up the housing rescue. Houston, Philadelphia, and New Orleans are among the cities expected to receive additional aid. State and local programs that have substantially expended their first round of funding and obligated at least 75% of their second round will be eligible for more money, according to the Treasury. So there is still $13 billion left for assistance, and Houston, Philadelphia, and New Orleans, those are the cities that are most likely to receive the additional aid. Now, if you're from any of these cities, then you're in luck. Distribution of the funds may be happening very soon. It says here, Congress authorized $46.5 billion in emergency rental assistance to keep the tenants housed, but the program has been plagued by bottlenecks at the state and local level for months. Just over 10% of the total funding has been distributed to renters and landlords by the end of July. State and local governments have varied widely in their ability to quickly disperse the funds, with places like Texas for outpacing stragglers in South Carolina and New York. Many of the funds still remain actually to be distributed due to logistics concerns, and people could also be affected by the end of the eviction moratorium. So hopefully things pick up soon. It says here the first $25 billion of rental assistance Congress passed in December has been fully allocated by the Treasury to state and local programs. The department has also allocated $8.6 billion of the second tranche of funding, leaving about $13 billion still in federal coffers. Treasury is happy to provide these state and local government programs with additional resources to support Americans in need of rental assistance. Now, this comes directly from the Treasury Deputy Secretary, Wale Adino. It says here, we committed to reallocating resources to ensure assistance reaches a struggling tenants and landlords. Now, with their statement here, it's pretty safe to say that the rental assistance will not be going away anytime soon, which is very good news. Now, if I'm not mistaken, rental assistance is also one of the stimulus provisions that Democrats want to include in the bill. Now, if they could get this done, we could see more people get rental assistance, a bigger rental aid fund, or both. Of course, we'll have to wait and see on this one. But what do you guys think about this though? Do you think the program by the Treasury would actually be successful? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. So anyway, guys, that's all for the news on your fourth stimulus check update, recurring stimulus check update. Joe Manchin's continued guessing game that's been keeping progressives in the dark with what he wants to do with the stimulus bill. The progressives' retaliation on Joe Manchin's remarks on adding a work requirement to the child tax credits, and the Treasury's announcement that they will be releasing more rental aid soon. What do you guys think? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. I hope you guys appreciated it all. If you haven't already, do like this video and definitely subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you are the first to know as soon as I release new videos and content. And I will see you guys on the next video. Take care and be safe. Take care. Take care.